For the price of one of these, you can get 10 of these, 15 of these, and about 40 of these. You might be wondering, Mike, where are you and what in the name of all that's seemingly ordinary is going on here? Well, may I introduce you to the very appropriately named Festival of the Unexceptional, an event for cars that your parents were likely to see on the outskirts of Birmingham, parked outside the big Tesco back in 1992, or cars you're likely to see today just in a scrapyard, probably also in Birmingham. That's right, these funky folks surrounding me aren't here to celebrate mind-numbing performance stats or pretentious paint-to-sample colour schemes. No, they're here to celebrate wind-up windows, cloth seats and their mate's choice of hubcap. Bass is ace, cheap is hip, black plastic is fantastic, and very clearly, nostalgic working-class motoring depression is the finest form of self-expression. What we have here at the Festival of the Unexceptional is a celebration of just that, and the more unexceptional, the better. But why? What is going on here, and why have these people gathered in a field to look at cars most people wouldn't remember, even if it ran over their dog? In order to find out, I grabbed my cameraman, bought us a couple of tickets, and headed to the deep dark north of the Grimsby Castle Estate, where the Festival of the Unexceptional takes place. Our purpose today was simple: get amongst the action, understand why these people are here, and figure out if they're onto something. Figure out if these seemingly cheap, old, unexceptional cars are worth celebrating. It's currently 9 in the morning, which gives us the whole day to roam the fields of Grimsthorpe in search for answers, and I reckon we might be able to find something because, bloody hell, there's a lot of stuff here. Holy moly, Matt. Run tape. This is an FSO Polonaise. I have a huge affiliation with these cars because this is a Polish-built pre-communism, post-communism motor. This was the last car Poland ever produced. My granddad had one, had two, maybe even three. My dad had one. Well, everyone had one. Every single person in Poland when I was growing up had one of these. I did many journeys in this car. They actually came over to the UK market. They were available in right-hand drive, but only about 12 were ever sold and they all rotted away. For those wondering, FSO stood for Fabryka Samochodów Osobowych, which directly translates to the factory of cars for people. Because obviously, you know, of the time that this car was made and manufactured, that's the most important thing. You know, you have to have a car for the people, for the nation of Poland. Yeah, in the Western world, the FSO Polonaise was not a successful car at all. And while there were other undesirables scattered throughout the festival, I noticed that they were far outweighed by cars that were quite popular in the past. The types of cars which used to be household names: Mondeo, Corsa, Rover. If these cars could talk, I'm sure they would tell us all about why, despite the passage of time and the label of unexceptional, they still mean something to somebody today. But they're cars, so they can't. Their owners, however, very much can. Do you want to tell me your name? Say, my name is, and I drive a, and then give me the year as well.
My name is Will, and I drive a 1993 Volvo 480.
So my name's Lauren, and I drive a Freelander 1 V6.
So my name is Key, and I drive a 2000 Seat Arosa.
So I'm Katie, and this is my car, Rover Streetwise.
My name is Johnny Bateman. I am the, I don't drive a car, unfortunately.
Okay.
I can't drive at all, but I'm here for the love of cars, essentially.
Amazing.
I love cars. I think they're bloody awesome. I think
Johnny, you're answering my questions already. I've got a few questions that I'm asking some people in the event. What is an unexceptional car? What is an unexceptional car? What is an unexceptional car?
An unexceptional car is rare but nobody cares.
An unexceptional car for me, at least, is a car that is interesting. It's got some history. It's got some oddball facts about it, but it's a car that goes under most people's radar.
Unexceptional cars, I think they get glossed over now. They get sort of like thrown in the mud by the whole sort of conglomerate, which is like just general, 4x4s, SUVs, which are just like, useless and rectangular. But cars like this, they're unexceptional, but they got charm to them, and I find that spectacular, innit? Especially like this.
Why do you enjoy these unexceptional cars?
I think a lot of things like are sentimental. You see the cars that like you grew up with. For example, this one, I bought this because my dad had a Monte Carlo Blue Freelander 1 when I was born.
And this is the same colour?
So this is the exact same colour. It's got the V6, his was the 1.8.
It's just people going, oh, I remember those, the Fiat Brava, you know, the 1.6 with the...
So you enjoy the people interaction?
Yeah, especially because the people I work with are from that generation. They remember all this stuff.
Things I enjoy about unexceptional cars is that they're rare, they're cheap because they're underappreciated, but they're easy to work on because they're old and there's not much complexity to them. So the electrics are all sort of, actually no, scratch that. Because the electrics in these are shit. So
I was just going to say, would you say that this is a simple car?
No, this is not simple. This is a nightmare to work on.
But what do you love about it?
What I love about it is it looks like a cheese wedge. It looks like a doorstop. It's unique, it's interesting.
Just no one really cares about them, but they're quirky and different, and they stand out in their own way.
I reckon they've hit the nail on the head because cars allow you to lean into your individualism in a way that not many things can. As car nerds, we are really spoiled for choice with our hobby, and that's largely down to the fact that the car community is vast and spans so many different genres. You can be into anything on four wheels. You could be into supercars, stance cars, classic or unexceptional cars, or all of the above. But one of the greatest things about the event we're at today is that the barrier for entry is relatively low. You do not need an expensive, flashy car to be involved. You just need a bit of imagination. And that might even come from a place you least expect it. Take Nissan, for example. Their current range of cars is about as exciting as a closing door. Rewind the clock a couple of decades though, and Nissan were making fun, quirky looking little hatchbacks, the character and charm of which has only gotten better with age. The Micra, for example, is a vehicle responsible for some of the best Chinese takeaway deliveries I've ever had, but is now fondly becoming a cult classic and a brilliant way to get into classic car ownerships as a young driver. And the good news is that there's a huge back catalogue of these types of cars to choose from an endless amount of manufacturers. Better yet, marketing tricks of yesteryear had a razor-sharp relationship with in-Orcus trimlines. Was gear not fun enough for you? How about I interest you in a flight? And that doesn't just go for the Fiesta or the Micra. These funky trimline naming conventions were a common practice across the board. I'm confident that every car here will have a curious badge for you to find and enjoy. The Metro Quest, the Starlet Friend, the Escort Mexico and the Twingo Comte Jour. The options are limitless, but that begs the question, which trimline holds the most street cred on the lawns of Grimsthorpe? Okay, here's a question for you. What's the best trimline you've seen on a car today that stood out to you?
The best trimline? Oh God, what was the name? It was some ridiculous name.
Well, that one over there, I think it was the Citroen Saxo Scandal edition.
I do like a bit of Azantia. I do like the variations of Azantia, they're pretty nice. I do like, there was one Land Rover Discovery I saw, a Gen 1 by the way, lovely blue, brilliant stuff. It had like these plastic bulbous lines, they were like, what? Why would you wreck that? I'm guessing you're digging in some sort of mud with that, but...
So the trims are different. This isn't, I think it's called an ES Premium, so it's sort of the top of the range. So for this event, it probably should have been the cloth seats and the slightly lower spec to fit in. But yeah, it's sort of fully spec'd with the leather interior.
So an all-time favourite of mine is the Skoda Felicia Fun. It's the shape of a caddy, like pickup, but it's yellow and it's got more yellow trim and it's got a yellow spoiler, and
Amazing.
That's probably my favourite.
I do love a Privia though. Privias are my favourite, and I do see like those classic sort of Range Rovers as well. Range Rovers are fantastic.
Matt, what was the name of that? Matt's right there.
Hello?
What was the name of that trim line on that car? Okay, that doesn't help, does it?
There's many cars. Right, Matthew's run up somewhere to get some B-roll, and as I'm wondering about on my own, look what I've bumped into. It's a Tata Nano. The Tata Nano was the world's cheapest car when it was brand new. You could pick one of these up for the equivalent of £1,200, which is absolutely nothing. Check out the inside. It is insanely basic. The wheels are tiny too. They look like 11 inches. That's unreal. I've never seen one of these in person. The owner actually imported it via America, just super odd, but a real quirk of motoring history, this. Very interesting. As I continued to wander around checking out all of the cars and gathering intel for our mission, I noticed someone put a beautiful manor house at one end of the event. It quickly transpired that this part of the map would house the concourse section of the show. By definition, the word concourse means a large open area inside or in front of a public building. In the context of the car world though, concourse is a grading term that defines the finest example of the mark. A concourse car is one that has been meticulously maintained throughout the years and more than often has been restored, and usually to a better standard than when it left the factory as a brand new car. Have you been to the concourse section?
It's proper opulent there. Sconces, crap cars in the middle. It's brilliant to see a multiplier in there as well. How can you... The juxtaposition of a multiplier being in this sort of ground of a palace. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's ridiculous.
With no further ado then, it was time to check out the concourse. As you can imagine, every single car in this area is in incredible condition, with an ownership story to match. It therefore took me absolutely no time at all to be distracted by the first concourse car I came across, and it was a good place to start. Right, this might be one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen. This Citroen Berlingo van, as I'm sure you can see, is utterly spotless. It's on 186,000 miles and it's been with the same owner since new and has been used as a work van around London its entire life. I don't know if I've ever seen a car, an object this brand new. Like you could have your dinner off of these tyres. That's incredible. Apparently, during its entire existence, this car's never had a breakdown. Matt, you gotta come right up close to this badge, because I want the viewers to understand just how immaculate it is. Look, it's been polished all the way around inside here. Absolutely bonkers. Citroen Berlingo 800 DLX. Imagine the amount of things you could put in the back of this thing. This is a Skoda Favorit. But it's not just any Favorit, this is the four-room trim, which means it is the most basic trim you could have gotten when the Favorit was a brand new car. And according to a little sheet in the window, this is the only one left on the road that's currently registered in the UK. So pretty rare car. Being the most boggo trim spec, it means you had no rear window wiper, no heater, basic seats, tiny little steel wheels, and a slightly less impressive engine than the regular Favorit at the time. Look, it doesn't even have fog lights. It is a basic car. The bumpers are plastic, the wheels are tiny. It's in incredible condition though. I wonder what the mileage is. Matt, you gotta check this out, mate. 30,000 miles on the clock. How do these cars exist? How do they exist? Who's kept them for so long? And why? And why don't they use them? The whole point of this cheap entry-level basic motoring is that they're supposed to be used, disposable. And yeah, here it is. Currently in front of a bloody palace with us nerds looking at it. In order to help figure out the question in the title of this video, I decided now would be a good time to find a couple of people who are displaying their own cars in the concourse. I wanted to know what it took to be parked right outside the manor, but more importantly, whether being in the concourse changed the general perspective of what everyone's here for. Unexceptional Motors. What's your name and what do you drive?
My name's Seth Eaton and I drive a 1998 Fiat Punto called Mojo.
I'm Josh, this is my 1997 Nissan Almera SLX, one owner from new.
So, what is an unexceptional car?
Just sort of, I would describe it as any car. If you were to go back 20, 25 years, walk down any residential street, you'd find what the Festival of the Unexceptional is all about.
We've noticed that trim is a hot topic around here.
It is.
Have you seen any trims today that really stood out to you?
I'm quite opposed to the Favorit four-room.
Another Punto in the field that was an ELX, which was really annoying because my dad also had one of these as his first car, and he had an ELX. and he always rubs it in my face that he had a better spec than mine.
What is it that you enjoy about your car and Unexceptional cars?
What I enjoy about this, you know, it's kind of getting to that age now where it's just like a retro car, but as well as being quite modern and enough to live with.
It's probably just the fact that I grew up around them a lot, you know, just out on the street, also people that owned them that were close to me. But it was also just, I'm not interested in performance or anything like that, or sharp angles. I'm interested in crazy colours and weird upholstery and strange names and funny stories, and it's the Unexceptional cars that seem to have that quite a lot.
All in all, the boys in the Concourse gave me the same answers as the folks parked on the other side of the fence. The same themes kept coming up that we've covered so far: variety and individualism, fueled by an alternative type of nostalgia and a love for all things automotive regardless of price tag or output. In fact, the lower the price tag and the lower the output, the bigger the kudos you'd get from those around you. Understanding all of this now is great, but I didn't fancy waiting until next year's show to get stuck in with the action myself. How can I make a documentary about a topic without getting directly involved? So I decided to get my hands on an Unexceptional car and bring it along to the event. Ideally, something that most people wouldn't take notice of at first, but those that did would be rewarded with a niche nugget of Unexceptional motoring. And here it is. An Audi, but not just any Audi. In fact, come with me, we'll go for a spin, I'll tell you all about it. The steering wheel is on the wrong side. Welcome to my Audi A2 3L. Oh yeah. From the outside, the A2 seems like a regular Unexceptional hatchback, and that's because it sort of is. Launched in 2000, the Audi A2 was Audi's answer to the compact city car. As you can imagine though, it still came with all the packaging trickery you would expect from the engineering powerhouse that is Audi. So much so that you can comfortably fit 5 big men in this thing and fit all their luggage in the boot. Oh yes, this is all very photo. However, this is not a regular Audi A2. Nope, it is very, very far from a regular A2. In fact, it's very far from just about any car in that field. I may have overdone it just a little bit. This is an Audi A2 3L. And that second bit is hugely important because it hints at this car's superpower. The 3L refers to its fuel consumption because my little A2 can cover 100 kilometers using just under 3 litres of diesel. In the King's English, that translates to 94 miles per gallon. The 3L was a science project to see just how much efficiency Audi could squeeze out of its humble little city car. And they began with the engine. Under the bonnet lies a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbo diesel, making a very efficient 60 brake horsepower, which I can then lower even further if I press the eco button on the dashboard. If I press that button, the engine now makes 40 brake horsepower. The eco button does a bunch of electrical trickery which helps to increase fuel efficiency, one of which is activating a very early version of stop-start technology. The only catch with it is that I can't figure out how to turn it back on. So if I come to a standstill like this, it'll turn off, and then, oh my god, it worked. It worked. That's the first time it's ever worked. Okay, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. Aha, the magic doesn't stop there though. To ensure that the A2 could achieve its targets of 3 litres per 100 kilometers, every single bit of the car had to be as light as possible. The entire thing was made from aluminium. Look, Audi were very proud of this technology, so much so that they celebrated it with a badge on the B-pillar. They gave the car thinner, lighter glass too, used plastic wherever possible, shrunk the wing mirrors, removed the fog lights, and even used aerodynamic wheel trims to increase its ability to effortlessly cut through the air. So much so that when this car first came out, it was the most aerodynamic production car in the world. not bad for a regular hatchback. The weight-saving measures stretch to the inside because this car is pretty basic. I've been in caves with more equipment than this. I mean, look, it doesn't even have grab handles. This, however, is the final piece of the efficiency puzzle, a very early SMG gearbox. And that stands for sequential manual gearbox. It acts the same as any other automatic, but instead of relying on a torque converter to tell the gearbox when to switch gears, it relies on a clutch, but it's still automatic. It makes the whole thing very slow and very jolty. In fact, everything about this car is pretty slow, but that's fine because it still works. It does work. It works really well. I like my spaceship Audi. I like its goofy looks. I like its million-mile fuel range, and I specifically like how niche and rare it is. It goes under everybody's radar. But does it work for Photo? Have we done this event properly? And more importantly, do my new friends like it? Last question for you. We came here in an Audi A2 3L. Do you reckon we've brought an unexceptional car?
Oh, definitely.
One question for you. Obviously, you saw our Audi A2 earlier. Do you reckon we've done Photo properly with our Audi?
Yes.
Do you reckon we've done Photo properly with our Audi?
I would say so.
Have we done it properly?
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say so.
Question for you. Do you think we've done Photo properly with our Audi?
Absolutely, I love an A2, especially on some big, like, steely wheels, yeah.
Fantastic. Kate, you've been great. Thanks so much.
No worries.
That's perfect.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's ridiculous.
Johnny, thank you so much, mate.
No worries.
Good man.
Sorry if I stumbled my words.
You're perfect. You're
Appreciate it.
perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's all we need. And
perfect.
hopefully you'll enjoy the film. And you'll, Josh, mate, thank you so much, dude. Really
Seats all
appreciate
yours,
it.
you leave.
Right. Thank you so much. That's everything
Thank
we
you.
needed. I really appreciate your
Oh,
time.
that's okay.
No, you're fantastic. Yeah. Dear viewers, there you have it. Our A2 went down a treat. But to tell you the truth, every car in this film went down a treat. Every single person we spoke to and everything we filmed was utterly brilliant. So I'm glad to report that yes, cheap, old, unexceptional cars should absolutely be celebrated. They bring joy, they bring comfort, they bring calmness and a sense of presence to a vast and engaged community, driving our hobby forward in a way that not many things do. So then, the Festival of the Unexceptional. A play on words, sure, but an ironic one seeing as they're anything but. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, maybe you like our other films that are on this hand side of your screen. If you'd like to support further than that, we have a web store full of goods you can enjoy, a t-shirt, a hat, a sticker, candyshop.co.uk/shop. Thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next film.
Guys, if you want an award this afternoon, please make your way over to your car. We will be getting